Welcome back to the Take a Chance on You podcast, hosted by me, Alexandra Forsyth. I'm so excited today to be passing the mic to Abnia Loriston from Creative Ladder. Abnia is the manager of the Rising Academy, and Creative Ladder is helping young creatives on their way, aspiring to rise above the ladder. Abnia, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Today is a beautiful day here in my city. I am enjoying the work that we're doing today and getting ready for our next events and conference that we're going to, which we were just talking about, Cannes Lions.
Yeah.
So things are great.
So we've spoken a lot about all of the events that Creative Ladder do and that you're getting involved in. But do you want to give the listeners a little bit of an introduction to who you are and what you get up to?
Yes. So the Creative Ladder is a nonprofit organization that really supports leadership development for advertising and marketing professionals. And we're usually looking for folks in the first 10 to 15 years of their career who have an ambition to be a leader, but just need a path forward and an understanding of what is available and how to achieve it. And so we make clear that path. We love to call ourselves an access organization because we know it's not a talent issue, it's an access issue. And so we open up doors, we open up access, we make sure that folks know what's available to them. And for us, that can look like events that we have, like our events that we just recently had in New York, Bold, and our leadership boot camp. It can also look like taking folks to conferences, like when we go to Cannes Lions or a Black Week in New York, or before we used to go to Brand Week. So those kinds of events. And then we have our own programming that we do. We have an intensive programming called Rising Leaders Academy, which I'm the manager for. And then we have a less intensive program called Future of Work, both of which are all virtual, but allows you to really plug into the content and go deeper. All of our events programming is meant to help leaders and rising leaders, as we call them, see themselves in the community that is present, but also in the content that is being shared. We showcase how folks can become empathetic, creative, ambitious leaders who are future forward as well as tech forward. So we're super excited with the content that we've been able to put out in the world and the community that we've been able to build. 7,000 at this point, 7,000. We're about to celebrate our 4th year on July 1st.
It's amazing. It's still really up and coming what you're doing. But in terms of that tech forward and leading with empathy, it's huge right now. And we've spoken about this before. I feel like 2026, human touch, human connection, everybody's talking about it in the age of AI. How are you navigating that in terms of creative? Are you seeing any shifts?
Yeah, we definitely see a shift in how people are doing the work. People are able to do work slightly faster, maybe, but it does take a lot more brain power too. I think a human brain power to really decipher what AI is trying to give you and to make sure that you're still creative and your voice shows up. I think that's where a lot of creatives have been struggling from my point of view, is trying to find what is that voice that they know they have and that they want to showcase, maybe while using AI, but even taking it further with like how they showcase their own brand. And so I think that storytelling, that understanding of your POV and your niche and the thing that you do really well is even more important now in the age of AI than it was before. And that's where creativity is trying to hone in on what is the creative thing that I bring, rather than what is the work that AI can help me do faster.
I was reading an article this morning that was saying use AI for prompts and automation where you can. But in terms of creativity, obviously that storytelling, that's what makes the industry so inviting, longevity, long lasting in terms of career. So if we use AI to be creative, it's a juxtaposition regarding the industry.
Yeah, and I think it does take time for the industry, the people, the tech to all kind of get to a place where they're sitting well and working well and playing well. So I know that the shift is going to take time, and there is definitely a spectrum of where people are right now, from, early adopters who are already on the way to building the biggest next thing. And I know like the big thing is like, can a one person company exist where they make $1 billion, right? Like everyone's seeking that. For me in the creative space, I think, can we all work together and still create beautiful work and create moving content and create things that really help people see themselves in a brand or see themselves in a product and want to go out and buy it, but also made that faster because of AI, or made that easier for us to make that possible, or make the vision come to life because of AI. That beauty that comes from the human brain and the human creativity, I know, or I hope at least, that this work won't lose it, because so many humans involved in this want to do that. They want to be creative. They want to see creative come through with AI, not be crushed by AI.
I embrace AI for automation in terms of tasking, outreach, drafting up responses perhaps, but I would always do my due diligence in the end. I would always
Yeah.
take that step back to do checks. So I think if we can get to that place,
Yeah.
embrace it for what it is, but always remember that humanness that comes with just interactions. And I guess that the live experience and the community that you're building, that is really what solidifies the human side.
100%. And even in the work that we do, we may, like with our programs, we may tell people, use AI to do this reflective work, or use AI to do this assignment that we are asking you to do, like a financial profile on a business or whatever that may be. But at the end of the day, you have to take that information, perceive it through your own lens and your own point of view, and give a story that is specific to your leadership. I think that's where the beauty of AI can meet creativity and make even more beautiful things. Where we are right now is still in the infancy of that, and we're still navigating what that looks like. So I will say we're years away from AI even making a video on its own. Maybe not as many as I think, but I also know in that process, there will be humans who are behind it, helping it, and making sure that it's doing it right. The AI that will make the slop, for the lack of a better word, that we continue to see will always exist. Tech always has those moments where we have greatness being made with it, and then we have things that we wouldn't want ourselves to be watching or to be distributing over and over and again. And we'll eventually start to sift those out of our work, hopefully.
Yeah. It reminds me of the AI actress. Will she win awards next year?
Mm.
And that creates a lot of controversy because you think it's not a person, it's digitally created. I do agree with that to a certain extent because it takes away what the award shows stand for and why we have that level of prestige. So it's interesting.
And it will take time too. I do think that one day we may give an AI artist, like who created a Tilly or a model or an AI actress, the
On the back
award
end, yeah.
for creating and being able to do that. But an AI itself accepting an award, I don't see that soon.
It's it's
But we'll
it's
see.
crazy. Anyway, there's too much there's too much going on in the industry something.
So
And when
much.
you said it's years away, I thought to myself, Silicon Valley, it's
Yeah.
scary. So yeah, feet on the ground. Talk to me about the Bold event. We've spoken about strategy and creativity, and I think this is a really strong point to bring out. It no longer feels it's about content creation or possibly only about storytelling, but actually having that strategy mindset when you think about, again, longevity in your career, IP, autonomy, where you see yourself.
Yeah, so our Bold event is an event that we hold every March during Women's History Month. And the goal is to truly empower women in the content, but it's really to create a space where we can have bold ideas, really think about our careers boldly, really think about the industry boldly, and create a space of belonging, ownership, leadership, and determination. And this past one in New York, the goal was really looking at your career and thinking about it with autonomy, as well as understanding that yes, the winds are shifting, but you can hold on and actually gain more possibility during this time, not lose as much. And so how do you meet these moments of pivots, or excuse me, moments of change, to truly pivot your career, to truly think about your career strategically? Should I go into more content creation? How should I showcase my work? How should I think of my work? Should I think of my career as one brand or one agency for the next 10, 15 years? Or should I be working with multiple brands all at once and thinking of myself as the business and selling my ability? So portfolio careers have been something that come up multiple times during the Bold events. We put on to showcase like here's the future of where you can be. We don't want you to see the changes and get lost and felt forgotten. We want you to see this change and feel empowered and emboldened and equipped to meet it and not feel left behind.
You said so many amazing things, and I say that with every guest. So that's just, I feel like that's my tagline. But I really love portfolio careers. I talk about it so often as well.
Yeah.
I think the ability to be multifaceted and really tap into your skill set. And say, for me, for example, on really corporate background, heavy consultancy, but I'm such a storyteller through public speaking, hence the podcast, the ability to be able to merge that together in a tangible way. People want more, not just brands, but businesses, and then ourselves as individuals. We want more ROI in life. As you say, I feel one industry, one career, one brand, will that really satisfy? And it's all about that fulfillment.
Yep, exactly. That fulfillment in your career, that fulfillment in the work that you put out, and your skill set that you're building too. Because I think as time changes and as tech changes, sometimes where you are could be what's limiting you. Right now, a lot of brands are saying they're AI forward, but because of IP or because of issues with their contracts, they can't really open everything up to AI. But if you are the business and you're the person who is doing your work and sharing your work and you're more on a contractual basis, having a portfolio career, you can use AI. You can open yourself up to new things that you haven't been able to do before. Um, and there's a balance too. I think like you can do some days of 9 to 5 with someone, and then sometime after that 9 to 5, you have a 5 to 9 that you're doing some additional work, contractual work, putting out your content, whatever it may be. So I think that's the other thing that people are trying to navigate is
I
where
love
can I
that.
take back
Yeah.
my time?
AI to a certain extent, that market research, what you said about putting together a report or a portfolio of a business, you can do that through an AI. And I do sometimes because it aggregates the data online, builds that report a lot faster than it would possibly take me 1 to 2 days to do that by myself. I could possibly take half a day. And then it frees up that time, as you say, to put that content out, schedule your posts, and then go on to that contractual freelancer projects, perhaps with a few different companies. So it is all about getting that time back because you want to do more and you want more experience and exposure.
100%. And that in marketing and advertising, I think is the new way of being creative, is exposure, is being in a lot of different brands or agencies and seeing how they work and learning from them to bring to other places. One of our amazing partners here at the Creative Ladder Consigliere shared that the future CMO has to be an architect almost, and how they're building communities for these brands. It's not just putting out an advert. It's not just putting out, things on social. It's not just one thing. It's how do I make all of this work together to create moments, to create events, to create a craze, a viral moment, whatever it may be, but to keep the community building and also nurtured as it's building for this brand, around this brand. So I
I
think
love that.
that is somewhere that creativity is going that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about as much.
It's so interesting. There's a podcast that I was listening to recently. I think it's the CMO podcast.
Mhm.
And one of the speakers works at TikTok, and she was saying something very similar to what you just said.
Love that.
It's about touch points. It's about that storytelling. CMOs as individuals, it's not just about the market and getting buy-in and getting budget, getting the funding to actually run the campaigns. What's beneath that? And that comes down to you as a person. And again, going right back to the beginning, empathy, emotion intelligence, if you have that, or you can work on that as part of your professional development, it will enhance the campaigns. It will enhance, obviously, bridging that gap with the community.
100%. 100%.
So
That
interesting.
those soft skills, funny enough, and I heard another speaker say this, David Ching, say that the soft skills will become even more important during this time of AI, ironically, because so much of the hard skills can be done by a machine now. So, like the market research that you just brought up can be done by an AI, but the soft skill of like intuition and knowing that this research means this, and that in addition to that, you've seen something with your family or with your friends, and you've seen something else in another space that isn't related to marketing and advertising, but can affect our marketing and advertising, that's the intuition that is going to be needed by the next group of creatives too.
There's also pattern recognition
Yeah,
and data
that intuition. Yeah,
analysis.
yeah,
And it
yeah.
reminds me, you would only know that had you gained the experience. So I wonder, what would we say really to aspiring leaders on their way if they aren't familiar with that process?
Yeah, I definitely would say get familiar with it in any way. And one of the things that you can do, the Creative Ladder has a quiz on our website that kind of tells you
Yeah.
what kind of creative you are. I am definitely the productive kind of creative who loves to create things but make them tangible. I know some of my colleagues are visionary creatives who like to really think of the big picture and bring it to people to bring to life. So everyone has their own creativity, and the Creative Ladder wants you to tap into that. I
Mm.
think for the folks who are in the work or finding other spaces, as we mentioned, to do the thing you're passionate about. And then for the folks who are in school still or who are still tapping into their creativity, finding spaces that aren't as prescribed for creativity that you can bring creativity to. I think like everybody I've spoken to recently has talked about how they're tapping into tangible hobbies, from knitting to sports to just getting out and doing things with their hands. I think that's another space where while AI can get you to do a lot of the brain work that you have to do quickly, the hard skill of your brain quickly, the hard skills of your hands, AI still can't do that either. And that's a space where creativity can flow a lot quicker too when you are using your hands and being creative with your hands.
I think for me, the more I use AI, the more I crave conversation. So I often find myself wanting to really talk to people, and not that I don't already say hello, but I find myself really wanting to say hi, how are you doing? Because otherwise, you're sat with AI, and it's very discombobulating.
Yep. Yep.
Really interesting, and obviously, a soft skill is conversation communication. So
100%. So many of our soft skills are gonna be even more important, I think, in this age.
definitely, and also, I took the quiz. And
Nice.
I can't remember exactly what my outcome was, but I think it did say creative director, and it's that storytelling.
Oh, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that, and that is very aligned with you.
Yeah, and I thought to myself, and obviously I do a lot of speaking anyway, so the storytelling comes through. I wanted to ask you more on the creative side, thinking about your background, because creative hasn't always come naturally. You have a teaching background before working at Creative Ladder. Do you want to give some insight into that?
Yeah, I definitely believe there are 2 types of creative. So there's the creative noun and the creative adjective, adverb, descriptor more. I'm more of the creative descriptor, not the noun version. I did start my career in education when I started in as a high school public school teacher. I did it through Teach for America. And so really trying to focus on how do I bridge the gap for my students in a creative way quickly because they were so much further behind. Same thing for when I was working with teachers and helping them support inner city students, really trying to bridge the gap for them of like what their students need and what they can provide as quickly as possible. And the same for what I'm doing here at the Creative Ladder. Everything that I try to do, I try to figure out with as much creativity as possible how to bridge the gap from where people want to be, which is they want to be leaders, they want teams, they want people to see them as leaders, and where they are now, which is very capable, amazing, creative individuals who have so much to share, but just don't see people like them as much or don't have the kind of sponsorship or mentorship that they need and the community that they need. So a lot of my work has always been in this way of bridging the gap and helping people grow. And funny enough, I'm able to do it in a lot of different spaces, which I love. I didn't think I would be able to when I first became a teacher. And every time I've pivoted and reformed my career to a new industry, I still am able to do the same thing as I
Love
was as a
that.
teacher. Yeah.
What do you think's changed in terms of teaching through to creative now? Do you see any big differences in terms of pain points for young
I
people?
definitely see, yeah, I see the pain point of things changing really, really fast. I think in a space where our brain usually takes knee-jerk reactions, implicit bias, as we used to call it and talked about it, that biases that our brains have when they have to think quickly, when things are changing so quickly. I can see that coming up because so many people are relying on the the more intrinsic version of their brain to think through these things. And so the fear for AI, I would say, comes from that of like, this change happened so quickly. I haven't even had time to kind of hold on to what AI is, and it's already shifted and it's constantly shifting. That fear comes from a biases that our brain is like, change is too much change. Let's stop. So I can see that happening in a lot of the people that we support, and even over time with the people that I work with who are colleagues, that the degree at which change is happening can be alarmingly disorienting and can be hard to navigate to the point where now you rely on old habits to get you through, when truly it is new habits that are going to support you, and reconfiguring and bringing new skills together for a new way of working that will get you through. And I don't see a lot of people fully tapping into that part yet.
I think it's just a mixture of uncertainty. And then, as
Yeah.
you say, everything's
Yeah.
changing so fast. We're all trying to get used to this new normal in a way with AI and technology, but not even just AI. I mean, autonomous vehicles, quantum.
Yep.
There's just so
Yep.
much going on, and adaptability is key, but also we're all trying to tap in and see what is that way forward that will be beneficial. It's the process.
But I think one of the things that we have to remind ourselves is there was never a way that was correct before, and there never will be a fully correct way forward now. And
Mm.
I think that is the adaptability that a lot of us have not tapped into, which is it's okay to mess up. It's okay that we won't have the answer. It's okay that it'll be a little messy. We'll get uncomfortable and dirty, but we'll keep moving forward. I see a lot of folks kind of pushing back and digging their heels into the mud, or creating big pieces of themselves so that they can move slower rather than being more nimble and fast, and being more adaptable in the changes that are happening.
It's almost like having a safe to fail mentality within the
Yes,
organization, but also
yes,
within ourselves as individuals. I spoke recently about limiting beliefs and my own patterns of that and having to break those in terms of, like you say, it's okay to mess up. It's okay to not have everything today, but try and try again and wake up and go for it second, third time. And then eventually you will get the outcome you desire. So it's internal within ourselves, but then also external within our environment, team, organization culture as well. So it's a combination.
100%, 100%. The fear, it's the thing that I think a lot of us need to let go right now, of the
Yeah.
change, of the uncertainty, of the, am I going to have the right answer? And just take a chance on yourself. Take a chance.
Take a chance on you. Yes.
Yes, yes,
Very nice. Very nice.
yes.
Talk to me about the future of work. It's obviously this is a fantastic program. You have your bold events, you've got cans coming up, but you have this future of work as well as the Rising Leaders Academy.
Yes, these are our more intensive programs, as I mentioned. Future of Work is all virtual. You meet twice a month to hear from amazing speakers on our four pillars of agility, AI, ambition, and advancement. And the goal of this is really to help our future leaders and our rising leaders see how the industry is changing and what they need to tap into. So, around agility, and what we just talked about is around adaptability and being able to meet the changes and not be taken aback or feel like you have to be afraid of them. Around advancement, what is going to truly bring your career forward in the future? AI, we've been talking that about that all day. There's no stopping us with this. It's here, it's gonna be here. So how do you use it to the best of your advantage and use it ethically as well? That's a part of that conversation. We've had great speakers, and every time we've had a speaker, I've walked away with so many gems, and the same for our attendees, of just like, wow, wow, so much that we can absorb now and take. I shared a few of them here with you already with the audience. So Future Work is really one of our programs that, for us, it helps keep that bridge of, you just went through an event, we gave you some great content, you want to keep going with that content and you want to keep learning. So here's some additional content and information. With Rising Leaders Academy, that takes you even deeper, where we're like, now here's some assignments and here are some ways that you can start really planning out how you want your leadership to develop, it's 6 months long, and we're meeting again. And folks are really working on their own after the sessions. It's a lot more deep work. Every time people go through that program, they're like, wow, that is a lot of work, but it was worth it. And I will never forget the things that I've learned here. Yeah.
Amazing. In terms of the process of aspiring leaders and leaders in their way getting involved in Creative Ladder, what does that look like? I'm just thinking 'cause it's specific to US-based leaders, am I right? If anybody, say, across the UK wanted to attend virtual, could they?
So anything we're doing virtually, you can attend. Anything that is being done in person, we would want you to be close by to
Yeah.
attend. Future of Work, we had participants from organizations join after their organization said that they wanted this for them. For Rising Leaders, we have an application that is for mostly US-based folks because of the times that we meet. But then for our virtual events like self-leadership and well-being, or sometimes we have virtual events on topics that are going on in marketing and advertising, we will have those open for our global audience, which we do have quite a few people outside of the US as well.
It's such valuable information, and there's so many resources there. And as you say, the opportunity to possibly connect with wider community and the speakers as well.
Yes, exactly. And that's what we are all about. Our community at the end of the day is our bread and butter. The people who come to our events, who come together, when they do meet each other, they just feel seen. They feel uplifted by the people there.
It's so needed. I think the young creators, going back to that uncertainty, community is the most important part. I remember we spoke about before, it's not a solo journey. It really is cross collaboration, especially in our industry. You've got to be talking, you've got to be sharing your ideas, you've got to be building your portfolio, but through exposure.
100%. We say rising tides lift all boats. We say, reach back and help someone up the creative ladder, because we know that when you find, and especially when you're building great communities, when you find great people, you want to make sure that they find those great people too. The creative ladder grew as big as it did because of word of mouth, because people would attend or join us and see how fulfilling it was, how amazing it was for them, and how impactful it was for them, and wanted the same for someone else. So 100% all of that.
Which type of career do your leaders tend to go into? You mentioned marketing and advertising quite frequently. Creative, obviously, there's so many roles, so many responsibilities. Could you give a little bit of an insight into that?
Yes. So for us, we do mostly work with folks who are in advertising and marketing, from
Yeah.
either the account side, production side, design, copywriting, whatever it may be, paid media. Our goal is eventually to go into other creative spaces. We do have a sister organization, Group Effort Initiative, that does the
Yes.
film side. So
Amazing.
they are, yes, they are there too. But for us, we are mostly only in the advertising and marketing space, knowing that creativity can be both the noun in this space as well as the adjective, the descriptor in this space too, because so much of the work is corporate, but it's in a creative way. This is the one department in the corporate space that can do things creatively.
Like I say, the industry itself can be so broad, but I think that's more inviting because there's opportunity. If you wanted to start in marketing and advertising, copyright, and then pivot to production, and then possibly pivot to another side of the industry, opportunities are endless. I feel more fluid than other industries, perhaps.
100%. Yes, you hit it right on the nail. The fluidity that you get in advertising and marketing also allows you to start to see other spaces too, that you can bring your creativity that isn't even in marketing and advertising. And I think that's also the beauty of it, as a lot of folks start to realize there is sports specifically that I want to focus on, and I want to go deeper in that. Or there is skincare that I care really deeply about in the work that I've done in marketing and advertising, and I want to learn more about it. So they start to go down that rabbit hole of understanding what skincare is and creating their own brand. So it is interesting to see how so many people in advertising and marketing have used it to bridge other industries and other aspects of their life too.
Cross media, it's really a tipping point this year. I've spoken to so many people, entertainment, gaming, sports, industries are just merging more and
Yeah.
more because there's such value in that cross collaboration. And you said it just then.
Yes. It's It's no longer helpful to just be by yourself and
Just
try to think of your
silos.
industry by yourself. No, we have to cross pollinate. We have to figure out how to get a little bit from everyone.
I think that's really exciting. Build campaigns, especially in marketing and advertising, that actually do tell that story and go the extra mile.
Oh, yeah. I think that's where the creative work comes from, right? Because it's able to see and get sparked from an idea in this industry or in this type of work and use it and reconfigure it for the work that you're doing or the industry that you're in. I think that's where creativity truly lives is in the reimagining.
There's so much that goes on behind the scenes. We don't talk about that enough. Obviously, we see the campaigns and we think it looks fantastic. That's why we put it together because again, it's touch points, it's moments, it's story. But so much has gone into that from multiple different teams, individuals over a long period of time. So I actually find elevating that a little bit.
Yes, we did some work on that too at the Creative Ladder. Inside the Creative's Mind was one of our programs that we had for a little bit to showcase how creatives think. And then we had on LinkedIn some LinkedIn Lives that we were doing and probably are still on our LinkedIn page on what is the work of certain creatives and to really dive into the work we were doing for the quiz as well. So I 100% agree. Like a lot of the back end work can sometimes be unseen, and all you see is the Super Bowl ad and the people in that, or,
Which we love.
the
We
yes, we
love.
love that, or yes, no talking bad about that at all. But that
But
took thousands of people, not just the people on that ad. And I
yeah,
also think like for a lot of young people, they don't understand a lot of what's happening in the back end. And so they don't think it's possible. They don't think it's even tangible. And I think giving some sense of what's behind the curtain allows people to see themselves in that work too.
you think about the podcast as a prime example. I've gone through the whole life cycle, putting the title together, the concept, getting the guests, the location, lighting, sound, editing. So I'm in quite a fortunate position. I've seen the whole process, all of the back end. It doesn't take away the magic, and it's getting that point across. Actually, it makes the magic even more
Yeah.
sustainable because by the time you get to the finished product, you think, oh my God, and exactly the work that's gone into it. So it makes it even more exciting. I can't wait to put this content out there. I think it shouldn't be seen as a barrier. It should actually be seen as breaking down barriers in the mind because otherwise for young people now, especially with social media, it's almost this glass veil goes up, and by the time they get into the workforce, they think to themselves, "Gosh, I didn't realize it was going to be like this. Well, nobody told me that this was what was expected of me." And you think, "Well, we should have really."
Yeah, that statement, nobody told me. I've heard it so many times. I think that's the reason why the creative ladder exists, even is to be that bridge again of making it much easier for you to see what's behind the curtain, making it much easier for you to fall in love with this work, making it much easier for you to see yourself as a leader. Because without that, you will walk in and think, what? I just spent this first 10 years of my life working and not recognizing that this is actually the work I could be doing, or what I thought I had to do this work this way. And it's actually through mentorship and sponsorship that I need to really elevate myself. So we're not giving you shortcuts, but we're giving you ways to see the path a lot clearer than by yourself, which community is such an important piece of that, of like how many people can you see around you doing this work helps open your brain to it being possible for yourself.
It's so needed because we're not taking anything away. We're giving you that
Yeah.
pathway. I mean, you have internships and you have apprenticeships where you can gain that beforehand experience. I think just being able to see that pathway clearly, you work out whether it's for you or not sooner rather than later.
Yes, yes, that is 100% true too, because we are called the creative ladder, but we know it is not a ladder to get to where you want to be in your career. It is a web, and you need to figure out your path through that web and because one door opens to another door that can lead to the same place, but it's the journey that really matters, how you're taking that journey, who you're bringing along with you on that journey that will make your career ladder, your career web, however you want to describe it, really meaningful to you. It's not really that role. And I think a lot of times people think, "Well, once I hit that role or once I hit that pay, grade, I will achieve this thing in my career. No, it's truly the journey and the path that you take and the people that you bring along with you and how much you also give to others as you're on that journey that will truly make it meaningful for you.
I couldn't agree more. Definitely the journey. Everybody's on their own pathway. And it's for you to figure out, going back to that autonomy piece, for young creatives now, it's your time to really figure
Yeah.
out what you want to do. But in terms of the future of Creative Ladder, like I say, you got Cannes coming up, more events this year. What does it look like?
Can is definitely on our mind. We are definitely thinking about how
Not long to
we
go.
show up. Yes, we show up for our cohort there and make them have the best experience to accelerate their careers. And then after that, we're really thinking about how we put on a more virtual experience for our organization because we know we have so many people, so many places that want to connect and want to be part of community. So the creative ladder is always trying to figure out how we meet our community where they are and be the most impactful that we can be, knowing that again, it's not a talent issue, it's just an access issue.
I wish you all the best. You are very connected with Creative Ladder, and I will be sharing the resources from today's episode. Any last strategies, recommendations for people listening? They can get involved with Creative Ladder or the website's live. You're on social media, so you can connect with Abnia on LinkedIn, Creative Ladder across social media. Anything else you'd like to say to listeners? We have a lot of people tuning in from the US, but also UK and other parts of the world.
I think one of the things I will say is keep climbing. Where our CEO, Diana, loves to say that because at the end of the day, if you keep going, you will achieve what you want to. It is the stopping moments that truly harm our career more than the changes and the pivots and the new doors that have to open up when others close. I think sometimes those doors close and change happens and we think we have to stop. And in reality, you just have to keep climbing. You have to keep figuring out your way through the web. So keep climbing, everyone.
I love that. Keep climbing and figuring out your way through the web. It reminds me of Charlotte's Web. That was Abnia Loriston joining us from Creative Ladder, and I will speak to you all very soon. Bye.
Bye.